All right, here we go. Let me put a little boom. So we're going to talk through this investment. Of course, this is Quincy Smith from Second Exodus Investments. And we're going to talk through a property sent to me by Marcus and Millchap with some brokers that I work with consistently. The property is located in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Built in 1980. It's 42 units. I think it's 34 two-bedrooms and it's 8 one-bedroom properties. The rest of this information on the highlights really ain't really significant. It's filler information, in my opinion. Here's the meat and potatoes of it. It's listed at $1.6 million, so that's what they think it's worth. Cap rate is 6.42%, over 32,000 square feet rental on 2.55 acres. The loan amount on the property right now is a little over $1 million at 5.5%. Amortization over 30 years. Now, what I do not know, which is important and wasn't provided, is what's the term of the loan. That's very important to know. If the loan is coming full within the next 3, 4, 2, however many years that it needs to become full to. So once they send me this, you get all the offering information here. And here's the information that they send. So they send all this financial information. I download it and I decipher it. And here's what it looks like. So I get what they call a T12. A T12 is the trailing 12 months of all the financials of the property. So it's in the investment world, for short, we call them T12. So here's the T12. All this financial information tells us how the property is doing financially, and this is what's important. I don't look at pictures. I don't look at anything but financial information. Once this makes sense to me, now it makes sense to go look at the property and pictures and all of that. They also provided a rent roll. And here is more financial information about the property that just tell us how the property is doing, how it's doing financially. You also have recent activity, which covers like who's leaving or who got put out or who extended their their lease. And then what they consider is a capital expenditure report, which is the money that they think is necessary to spend on damages or management for the property. And of course, it's not going to be a lot. So when I look at a property, I look at it for investment purposes. I take all of this information from the T12 and the rent roll, and I put it into this spreadsheet, this template for investment. I didn't create this one. I did create one that works better for me for my investment criteria, but because this one has a loan on it, as you can see, take you back here, this one has a loan on it. This particular spreadsheet allows me to do both. It allows me to evaluate the property with the loan, or evaluate the property if I was just going to purchase it outright without the loan. When I say with the loan, I'm saying that the property most commercial properties have assumable loans, which means that in the purchase process, you can just assume the seller's loan and then pay the seller whatever the difference is on the property, on the price that you agree to. So this one has an assumable loan, and that loan's balance started at $1.12 million. So I don't know what it is now because I don't have any of the term information. Is that loud? I don't think so. So, excuse me. So right now I just put the information in, and I'll talk through this information so you can understand it. Basically, the date that I did the analysis was 2 days ago. Today is the 12th. I did this analysis on the 10th. 42 units, 1.6 million is what they want. Here's the price per unit. You see the rentable square feet, and then what's the price per square feet that we're paying. And once again, this spreadsheet allows me to look at the seller's information, which is the current information that they put in the T12, the rent roll. I can extract all of that and put that over here, and then it allows also for me to put what ours is usually, mine and whoever I'm syndicating with. So that information I will project most of it would be the same, but some of it is a projection. And just know when I project worst case scenario. So I've never buy a property or attempt to invest in a property with the best case scenario for me. I always look at it, if I can buy the property at the worst case possible scenario financially, then I can still make money, then it's a no-brainer for me. So I extracted all that information here. I extracted all of the income information that the property is receiving. Did it for the seller, did it for us. And I'll break that down in all of the seller information for the expenses. And here's the meat and potatoes of what makes a decision on the investment criteria. And here's the information over here on what would make a difference on how we would purchase the property. So I'll just go through this very quickly. All of this seller information for income and seller information for expenses are here. That the property is currently making $231,173 per year. It's costing $106,297 to have the property, the business of the property. The projection over here is what I would see. So like over here, this particular property is not showing on the financials any loss for vacancy. So the great thing about it is with commercial property, the difference from commercial property and single family homes and buying and selling single family homes is that there are laws set in place for single family residential buyers, whether you're an investor or you're just a end buyer. There are laws set in place to protect the buyer. In commercial property, there are no laws to protect you. If you're buying in the commercial world, the assumption is that you understand and you're educated enough to get into an investment. So if you get into this game and you lose your shirt, it's on you. There's no laws to protect you. You better know what you're doing. So I say that to say this. This property is showing on the records there are not any vacancies. See over here, here's the income. Vacancies are usually in the income. There are no vacancies here. But in the rent roll, which saying, hey, this is what we do. This is our day-to-day or month-to-month income report. Right here, showing a vacancy. Right here, showing a vacancy, right? So they're at least showing 2 vacancies on their rent roll that's not showing up on their T12. So like I say, you got to be able to look at this stuff and decipher it to understand what's going on. So they projecting to whoever's buying that they're not losing money to vacancies, but they showing on their rent roll that they are. So just a small information like that can make a difference in you buying a property at one price or another. So what I do on our side is I go with whatever the market rates are. The market rates, if the market rates is 3%, 4%, 5%, whatever, I put that in there as our specific vacancy percentage. Even though if it's not at 6%, I don't care what it is. It could be 100% over here currently. It's not 100, and I showed you that. But I go 6% at least. So if they're losing 2 per month, they got 2 vacancies, that might not be 6%. But if the market rate, which I'll get from here, this is a market rate data projection, data report. And here is what it is for 2019. Here. for South Carolina, miscellaneous South Carolina, that's South Carolina areas that are not covered in Charleston, Columbia, Greensville, Spartanville, Myrtle Beach. So they combine all the miscellaneous areas. This was being a miscellaneous area. Those areas have a vacancy rate at 94%. Of course, this is an inverse. So it's saying that they are 94% occupied. So you take the inverse, that's 6%, right? So 6% market rate for vacancies. Total income, other income, they have a laundry there, equals up to 217. So I have a difference right there. And then all of our expenses, boom, I put it out from there. Here we have the net operating income is a slight difference. We're at 89,000. They're still over 120,000. Capital expenditures for me would take about $300 per unit. That's 42 units, 12,600, easy math. So if I was to purchase the property, what they wanted at 1.6 million, here is the money, cash flow before taxes that I would make. Right. It's not a good investment for me to buy this property outright at 1.6 million. So what I do is I go, since all of this is done, I go and I do what's called a what if analysis or a goal analysis on the property. This allows me to analyze the difference in purchase price and percentage rates that I'm looking for. So it's a quite simple thing. What I'm trying to do is our cash on cash return for our equity partners. So anybody that's coming in a syndication on this deal with me, I like to get them double digit returns. So here is where I can manipulate what I can get for return and what I can get for what that inverse relationship is to the purchase price of the property. So here I'm looking at what sale? This sale here, D44. So D44, I want to set that value to 12%. So anybody know about decimals? That would be 0.12. And I like to throw a couple of zeros behind it because, just for good measure. Now I want to change this to 12% by changing what I offer for the property. So right now the offer is 1.6 million. So I want to change sell D44 to 12% by changing this. So in that sale, what? D7, right? So you come here, D7, hit OK, boom, everything does. It says current value has been changed. Your sale is now 12.0%. Now go down and look. Boom, it's 12.0%. And then the property has dropped. The purchase price I would have to offer on this property would be $633,697. So is that feasible? Do you think the person selling this property will offer would take $1 million less than what they want for it? Probably not. So it's probably not a feasible deal to do an outright purchase of the property. And that's with consideration of the purchase price being $663,000. The bank that I'm working with will do an 80% loan to value, a loan to purchase. So that means I would have to put 20% down. The down payment would be $126,000. Mortgage amount would then go to $506 at 6% interest rate, amortized over 30 years. So our annual debt service would be $36,000. Closing costs on a deal like this would be about 3%. Acquisition costs 5%. What we would need total acquisition cost would be $233,807. Right now I'm gonna go through the next deal, which would be the same deal, but we will do it the assumption. All right, peace. I'll be right back.